Today we're going to be reviewing the 2023 Acura Integra, the new model. They haven't made an Integra in over 20 years. It's been quite a long time. Today we're going to be reviewing the top spec one, the A-spec. This one retails for about 40 to 43,000 Canadian. Let's go through all of the doors, the paint, what we think of the technology inside of the car, how comfortable the seats are, the driving experience, and everything like that. Let's just take a quick tour around the car. The first thing we're going to be reviewing today on the 2023 Acura Integra is going to be the key, as this is something you're always going to be carrying around with you and on your person. So number one on this is we have not very many buttons. It's pretty simplistic. You of course can take out the key, just hidden in there. This is the back of it. It's nice glass back with the Acura logo in there. It looks like it's actually behind the glass, so that's pretty cool. And here you will see a little number that says 1. That is actually showing that it is the first key, and there's going to be 2 of them, I believe, that you get with the car. The next one is going to be engine hold. This is to turn on or off your engine with your key. This is your lock and unlock button, and then your trunk release, and then this is your alarm horn that you can control from here. First thing we're going to be doing is, of course, listening to how it sounds from the car itself. Let's point it toward the car. So this is the unlock. Not much of a sound, just the headlights come on. Lock. No hot, just a little bit of a beep there as well. Trunk release, that's going to release the trunk. We'll talk about that later. Engine hold. You have to hold it for approximately a couple seconds here. Car starts right up. You can start warming it up there, and then if you want to start, turning it off, then you just do the same thing. Car turns off. All right, now we're going to be getting into some of the functionality parts of the car. Let's start off with the back. Now, this new Integra is also a hatchback, just like the old generation. Just to open it, you just got to put your hand underneath it, you press it, and it should just open just like that. It's got hydraulics in there to open itself. It's pretty easy. It is not electronic, but still a very good one. Here in the back, the first thing we see is, honestly, for a small sports hatchback, it's got some pretty good storage. Here we also see we got a nice subwoofer down there for the L's Studio 3D audio. We got a couple other speakers here on each side. We got some nice storage back here in this corner. I don't know what you could put there, maybe food. Here we got an under storage part. It's got some dividers to organize everything. Got an extra area down there. I believe that down here there should also be a spare tire. Just take this out. Area for a spare tire at least. So I guess it doesn't come with one. It's back in. All right. Now that's closed. Let's go on to see how big it is if we put the seats down. Now for the seats, should be pretty simplistic to put down. You still got to reach over and kind of push a little lever. Then the seats should just push down just like that. Now you've got even more storage room that you can deal with. Probably carry some pretty big things there. Nothing absolutely massive, but like, it's pretty good. Here with this trunk visor too, you can remove this pretty easily. Just gotta pull it out, this little guy. So honestly, it's quite light. Other ones I've seen are usually kind of more hard plastic. This is kind of like a synthetic material. It's quite nice actually. And it gives you the full view of the trunk. And of course, these windows are heated in the back, and the same with the front. That's all there is to the trunk. All right, and now we're moving on to the interior of the car, where the seats are, and of course where you're going to be spending all your time. We're going to start off a little bit differently this time than other car reviewers, but we're going to start off with the back. I myself right now am standing at 5 feet and 11 inches. So let's see how well I fit in the back, because it's not a very big car, but to be honest, here in the back, don't need to make much of a maneuver to get in, just a casual sink in, but You know, if I sit up straight, my head will be touching the top of the roof a little bit here. I gotta push it up. But honestly, most times in the back, I'm going to be having my feet up against the seat here, having my head on the headrest, and then got about, give it an inch of space above there in a comfortable position. Now, these seats cannot recline in the back, but they are still quite comfortable. It's quite a premium material of leather. It's pretty nice in here, back here. It's pretty basic too. Moving over to the other side, if I just move myself over here, here we see we have in the back 2 USB ports. They're USB-A, there's no USB-C unfortunately, but it is what it is. Back here we have a couple more assortments of speakers as well. If you look on each door, there are going to be 2 speakers that you can see. There is a small tweeter here and then a bigger full-size speaker. In total in this car, there are 19 speakers to choose from, which is pretty impressive, honestly. In here we see they've got a little bit of storage here. Oh, that's interesting. They don't really have any backliner on this. It's just interesting material. All right. Moving on to one aspect of the car I did miss out on. And it does also have a pretty nice cup holder. The only thing is they got this weird design where they have one small cup holder and one big one, which if you have kids in the back or something like that, it's kind of weird because if you both get the big cups, then one fits in one and one doesn't. It's just, I don't know why some companies doing that. I wish they just had like the little adjustables, but you know, it is what it is. It's a $40,000 range car. Now we are getting pretty tight on time here, so I'm just going to move directly on to getting into the car and the front seats. So here in the front seat, you get some options, of course. You get 2 seating memory seats, of course, which is quite nice. This A-spec does come with fully electronic seats. It does have a lumbar support as well. You get the 2 front windows as auto and the 2 back as manual ones. You would have your child lock window here. Locking and unlocking the car. This is for moving your mirrors. Here you can choose your left or your right one, all electronically. It's quite nice. Really nice materials on these doors, by the way. Let's get inside. Now being here inside the car, you can tell that there are definitely a lot of things happening here. Number one that I want to mention right away is these vents. Here you can control them with a little dial, which I really like compared to if it was just a screen. But this is really interesting. The direction of it is controlled with this little nub. I don't see these often. It's almost like a little joystick. Still, it's pretty cool. Next thing here. This is the steering wheel. You got a couple of controls here. With this spec of the car, you get a heated steering wheel. You get your controls for both your volume, your music controls, your voice recognition, and just to move through the dials that you get in your thing here, but we will talk about that later. Here, you also get your controls for your cruise control settings and whatnot, and that's essentially all there is to the wheel. Now, if we go back here, let's just direct this here. Here, with the left side of the wheel, I can control this to either show. Here, let me just zoom in a little bit here. Alexa, you can customize your display. You can go back, control your phone from here, FM radio, AM, SXM, USB, Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay. Now, if we click on the Apple CarPlay here, we can see if there was a song playing right here, we would have it appear right there. There's nothing else much to it really than that. Over here, we see our speed. The max speed on this thing is 260 kilometers locked. It does have also 3 drive modes. Now, since this is this one only is front-wheel drive, this one does not have an all-wheel drive variant of that we know of yet. But it is a front-wheel drive car, so it does not have the snow mode. Now, if we can just play with these, it's up for going up in the changes for sport mode. Here we have normal, which is kind of like a balance mode. And here we have comfort, which softens the suspension and makes everything blue. So pretty interesting accents. Next thing is the display. Now, this display is actually very responsive. You, of course, do get your full Apple CarPlay on here. You can control it. You guys already know about all that Apple CarPlay control. Well, the first thing we're going to look at here is, of course, the rear camera on the car. It is not the best camera I've seen, but it does have it is pretty useful, to be honest. It's quite a wide one than you see in a lot of cars in this spec range. Now I'm just backing out of my friend's driveway here because this freaking driveway sucks. All right, let's get into the driving of this car. Now, one of my favorite things that I like that the new Integra has is a heads-up display. Now, this is actually a very high-quality display. There's nothing jumbling it up. You got a couple of options of how you want to make it look, but I really like the idea of making it so basic where all it does is show you the speed. And honestly, that's all it really should be so that I don't get distracted with anything else on there. Other than that, the driving experience is very good. I'm going to go here into the comfort mode just to see. Now, this does very much lighten up the suspension and make it feel a lot lighter. It is a front-wheel drive car, so it is going to feel like it's pulling you other than pushing you in rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive cars, which is honestly a pretty nice feeling. One of the downsides of this car, though, is that it does come only with a CVT transmission. Now, I know what a lot of people are going to say. The CVT isn't your favorite aspect of these cars, and believe me, I'm the same way. I'm not a big fan of the CVTs either. I have a CVT car as my main daily driver. Not a big fan of it. You can get this car, though, in a 6-speed manual if you so prefer, but that is in the lower trims, unfortunately. Let's go into the normal mode, just to see the balanced mode. Suspension stiffened up just slightly a little bit, same thing with the steering wheel, but other than that, still feels very easy to control, very responsive, very nice. We have all of our controls here for our auto high beams, our front wipers. Don't really think I need to explain most of that. Since it is a Honda as well, you guys might also recognize on the shifter down here a little S. This is to go into its transmission sport mode if I just push it back there. Personally, here on these roads, I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to stay on the regular drive mode and use S or sport mode only on the highway, just so you guys can really get a feel of what it's like. Now, turn signal sounds. Some cars have some really, really bad turn signal sounds. One of the worst that I've probably ever heard is on the Ford Mach-E. That thing was just, it did not sound good at all. This one has a very nice tone to it. I could listen to it for hours, almost like a melody. It's quite nice. All right, and just here we're going to be talking now about the AC and controls because I have the windows closed for the audio of the video and I'm currently toasting. So I'm just going to see and check this out. The car does have regulators and sensors inside the car to see what it's like and the temperature to see what happens when you click auto. So I'm just going to click auto here, and it automatically went to all the low it can. It put on the air circulation. Now, a lot of cars don't do that automatically, which I personally do not like. I always have my air circulation on because if I don't, I'm going to be having to smell freaking diesel cars all the time when I'm behind them. Didn't turn on anything else. Now, it does have a couple of modes here. You can set it to be the window and your feet. You can set it to just be your feet, the face, just the face, and so on, which is pretty cool in my opinion. Just gonna have to go around this guy here. Not much else to those things. Next thing is the windows. Let's see what it sounds like with the windows open, because that's an important thing in some cars. Usually you get that weird sound when you're going at high speeds as well. Also, if you want to hear the engine, gotta open that window. So I'm about to hit the highway here. So let's go into full sport mode here. And let's just listen to that engine roar. Now, it's not the loudest engine in the world, but it still sounds pretty nice. You get such high reliability on such a nice car. Because this one does use the exact same engine that you see in the Civic Si. It's a 200 horsepower, I believe it's a 4-cylinder. It is turbocharged as well, which is why I can make that 200 horsepower, but it is also quite a light car. I don't know the weight of the car right off the top of my head. All I know is it's quite nice. I'm going to be putting it into the regular automatic mode here again to see how much it goes down. And went down to about 2.5. Let's put this into comfort mode now. And that was in 2,500, and all the revs just dropped down to about 1.8. Pretty good. The driving experience in this car is phenomenal, though. Does have some pretty nice storage compartment here. The ALS Studio 3 audio. It has a total of 19 speakers, like I was saying before. The climate control is very good. You get a USB-C and a USB-C and a USB-A here, and you of course do get your 12-volt connection here. A couple of other things. You get your brake hold if you want to be able to let go of your brakes here. The e-brake is electronic. Unfortunately, some cars wish they didn't have it. You do have your eco off. I'm going to turn that off because I personally do not like the feeling of it. There's that engine sound. I personally don't know if the sound of the engine is on the inside of it is fake or not. I can't really tell. They might have a little bit of a vent connected to it, so it's a more of a natural sound. Some companies seem to do that. Can't tell though. Down here we do have a wireless charger for phones. Just gonna plop my cameraman's phone down there. It is charging there, wireless charging. And just something cool I just noticed on this car, it does actually tell me the speed limit here. Here on this road, it's telling me, probably saw a sign and saying the speed limit, saying max is 50 kilometers an hour. That's pretty cool for $40,000 car range. That's a pretty impressive feature. Okay, so now we're gonna be checking the audio inside of the car. Let's just turn up the volume, shall we? Now, that song was Midnight Club by Picchio, which is a very bass-heavy song, but even then, this car is extremely bass-heavy. Now, we do have the equalizers on to sound the best it possibly can. Of course, you might have your own thoughts of how you think the car should sound in the audio-wise, but I think it sounds absolutely spectacular, even comparable to things like Mercedes. Definitely not their newer ones. The Burmaster audio is slightly better, same thing with Tesla, but for a $40,000 car, this is a very impressive vehicle. I don't exactly know who makes it specifically like for ELS audio or if they make it themselves. Just gonna be pulling up to the Acura dealer here to give the car back to them. All right, now taking a first look here at the inside of the engine for you guys. This is a different one. We had to return the one that we were driving. This is the manual one. The retail price is $46,000. They have the exact same engine now. It is the 200 horsepower, 4-cylinder, turbocharged engine from the Civic Si, so very reliable engine. It's been tested and everything. It's not like it's anything new. It's going to be very good. Okay, and now we're going to be taking a look at the other interior version that it has of the Alcantara red seats. Now, if you just take a look in here, these are the new Alcantara red seats that it has and the red interior. I really like the way that it's designed with the black leather here in the middle with the red leather here on the sides. Makes it look a lot more sporty. Of course, it is the same materials, but just the color, like depth of everything just makes it look a lot nicer. In this one, we do also get the new 6-speed manual transmission. It is quite nice. It feels really good. It sounds tactile and responsive. All right, and just here, let's take a sound look at the new Civic 6-speed transmission they have in this one. Now, inside the transmission, it is actually the same one you also see in the Civic Si. It's still a very nice transmission, of course. And it's also reliable because it's already been tested. Now, just listen to this. Very nice sounding transmission. All right, and this video was only made possible thanks to the help of Campus Acura here over at 3347 Oak Street in downtown Victoria. These guys were a lot of help. It was a great service. They got me out on a test drive in less than 5 minutes. I would highly recommend them. Premium service in my opinion. Definitely check them out if you're in the area. If you want a new Integra, take it up with the dealers, talk with them. They'll help you out. They know better than I do. Have a good day.